So how'd it feel to break out the chopper on a beautiful April day?
Oh my gosh, it was amazing. I love riding when it's beautiful out.
I do too.
Just kind of gives me some freedom, and yeah, it's just nice. It's a nice feeling.
Do you like riding around town, or do you like hitting the 2-lane open highway through the prairies, rolling hills?
I like riding in town, just because I'm more relaxed in town. But a 2-lane, I'm getting more relaxed. You know, I have to have a lot of trust in you.
Yeah.
Because you're like in control. I have no control at that point of the game. So you and Jesus, you're in control.
So do you feel like on a motorcycle it's hard for you to give up like that control, so to speak? Because like you're just along for the ride, right?
Yes.
It's kind of like getting into an airplane though, right?
Yeah, you're out of control.
Yeah.
It's not in your hands.
Yeah. I don't know, for me, I like cruising around town too, but I really like hitting the 2-lane highways more than riding around town. Sometimes riding around town kind of wears me out, you know, you're just constantly shifting, stopping. I mean, it's cool, but for me, man, when we head outside of town, you know, and past that entering whatever town you're in sign and hitting that 2-lane road, I just get this feeling that comes over me, like this sense of release and freedom, you know? Mm-hmm. That's kind of hard to describe, but and as you kind of start going through the gears and clicking up a gear, and feeling that wind, I just feel like something happens in your body to where it like turns on different senses, like your smells and the feeling you have. It's a feeling of inner rebellion for sure, right? What do you kind of feel like that, or what kind of feelings go through your head?
I've never really ridden a motorcycle.
Yeah.
So the only time I have is with you, and so I don't know exactly what to feel.
Yeah.
You know, yeah. I know I have to get over my fears of, you know, people pulling in front of us, or is Dave watching over here? Is he watching here, or in front of us, or is he watching for holes, or, you know, I have to really push past all of that, because I know that you've been riding for years and you know what you're doing. You know what you're doing.
So do you kind of feel like that's a good point you make? And for our listeners out there, I mean, they're probably listening to this, and some of them could probably really relate to that, especially if you're a passenger. So do you feel like that sometimes you get caught up in thinking about those things too much instead of just letting it all go and enjoying the ride?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, I do.
Like
I do really get caught up in it, and I get some anxiety going on with that. And so...
Do you kind of get stiff? Do you kind of stiffen up, you feel like?
Yes. Yeah. Because riding on that chopper, you have, I have no cushion. If you hit a bump, like going over a bridge, I have to be watching ahead where that bridge is, because I'm going to be leaning into you. That way it takes the weight off of my tailbone, my back. It's more on my legs, so I can brace for it. So I'm kind of watching for that. And
does that help a lot when you lean forward into me, kind of raise your weight?
Yes.
Do you kind of like put weight on your pegs when you do that?
Yes, because riding on that chopper, you have no cushion.
Yeah.
You know, and when you hit a bump, man, it jars from the bottom to the top.
Yeah.
On my back.
Yeah, I try to avoid those things at all costs, and I'm really scanning hard in the bridge joint, and I'm really looking for if there's a car in front of me, you know, how it handles that bridge joint. I mean, if you got motorcycles in front of you, that helps, right? Because you can kind of see how they kind of handle it. But yeah, I mean, I'm on constant alert for, you know, a divot in the road or something like that, because it is a chopper. It's not a smooth. If you want smooth, then you don't want a chopper. Right. A chopper is a whole different experience. And what about, do you get to a point, do you feel like, is there like a certain mile you get to a point where you feel like you just kind of let it go? Like your thought, you know, do your thoughts start to go?
Because I'm so new into this, it takes me quite a while to just like relax and just know that you're in control. Jesus has got it. I just have to surrender all that.
So do you feel like you really tap into your faith when you're on the motorcycle?
Oh, a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because you have to learn, like you got to surrender.
Yeah.
Because you have no control.
Yeah.
There's nothing between you and the asphalt.
Yeah.
Or you and going through the ditch, through a sticker patch,
Yeah.
There's nothing.
Is that what about when you jump on the interstate and our speeds start to jump up to like 80, 85 mile an hour, 75 mile an hour? Oh my gosh. What's that experience like for you?
Okay, that just happened this weekend.
Yeah.
And that freaked me out, not gonna lie.
Yeah.
When I looked around you and we're going 80, yeah, that was pretty freaky for me.
Yeah.
And plus we were going into a headwind. And so my face shield was kind of wanting to blow up, so I'm holding on to my face shield, keeping it down as I'm holding on to you, and just there was a lot of things going through my head.
Does it for you, like, I've never thought about a lot of these things, and maybe I have, but I don't spend a lot of time thinking about them. And maybe it's just because I've been riding since I was 5 years old, obviously not on the interstate, right? But I grew up riding motorcycles. But I don't, if I do think about those things, they kind of stress me out. I quit thinking about them because it is what it is at that point, and I can only do what I can do. But can you kind of feel me moving around the front seat? I'm kind of just like, moving around.
Yeah, and at that point in the game, I'm just wishing you would sit still because it just it moves the bike a little bit.
Yeah.
You're just like, which way do I go with him?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Or if you're going around corners and stuff, being a passenger, you're wanting to make sure that you're leaning the same way that you need to be leaning, and being new into it. You got to really learn all of that.
Yeah.
Even being a passenger, you have to learn, like, leaning forward, backwards, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You got to learn some hand gestures like turning, stopping, even though you have turn signals on your bike, are people watching that?
Yeah.
Or are people watching the rider?
Yeah, and I don't have turn signals on the front. They're just integrated into the rear tail lights.
Right.
But yeah, no, and I, as a rider, as the driver, so to speak, I'm always constantly looking at my mirrors to see who's behind me, who's in front of me, what's around me. I'm constantly aware of, who's coming up on me, and I just, it's my responsibility to keep you safe, right? Like that's my job. Like I'm the one riding the motorcycle. I'm the one that it's important that I have to do all of these things to keep you and us safe, right? But for me, it's just, I just have instant freedom heading down a 2-lane road, and I love looking out and seeing my long Sugar Bear front end hanging out there, and just the front wheel just look like it's floating out there. It just brings such peace to me. And see, it's kind of crazy, right? Because I'm having the opposite feelings as you probably at the time. Like I'm having a sense of serenity and peace and freedom, right? Like I'm in my happy place. I'm in the happiest spot I could be, right? Like I'm feeling really good. And for me, when those negative thoughts kind of enter my mind, which they do for everybody, there's nobody immune to it, I quickly get a handle on that and go back to that peaceful spot, right? Because ultimately, you can die on a motorcycle in a weird way, right? Because not everybody rides a motorcycle, and they can be dangerous, right? But walking down the street can be dangerous. But that's that rebellious part of riding a motorcycle is, yeah, they can be dangerous, and yes, you can die. Dying's not cool. That's not what I'm saying. But it's just it's people that ride motorcycles have this inner rebellion in them. I mean, think about when you crawl on that motorcycle. Like your inner rebellion's coming out, right? Because it's not normal for the average person, right? Mm-hmm. To jump on a back of a chopper and go down the interstate or go down a 2-lane road. But that's the cool part about it, right? Like it's like almost out of control in a way. You're in control, but there's so much out of your control. Mm-hmm. And that's that kind of, that's what Chopper Rebellion stands for, is embracing your inner rebel, right? Your inner rebellion. And I kind of feel like when you throw a leg over that motorcycle, like you're tapping into that, right? Because if you did tap into that inner rebellion, then you would just want to fall back to the average norm, and you wouldn't throw a leg over that motorcycle, right? I mean, you kind of feel like you got to kind of dig into that primal instinct, being new at it.
Yeah, I do. Yeah, I have to figure out like your moves, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, I am tapping into a lot when I get on the back of it. You know, and my first tap is not freedom.
Yeah.
It's not peace.
Yeah.
You know, I have to work through my anxiety. I have to work through my fear. I have to work through just so many emotions because...
To get to that freedom feeling?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. And honestly, this ride that's coming up that we're going to do, you know, I've mapped it. It's about 700 miles.
Yeah.
You know, that we're going to do. And growing up around that area, I know the roads really well.
Yeah.
You know, so when we, like from here to Clayton, New Mexico is not going to be a big deal because it's flat. From Clayton to Raton, it's flat. But once we start over Raton Pass, boy, that's going to throw some wrenches in it. Because I've been on that road many times. From Raton to Trinidad, it's 20 miles through the mountains. And then when we start from Trinidad and we go up through Segundo and Primero and we go through by Monument Lake and Bear Lake, and that's getting into some mountain riding.
Yeah.
As we head over Cachera Pass, as we're winding and going up over a pass and back down into Cachera. You know, that throws a lot into it too, you know.
And that's a really good point you bring up that most people don't think of. And if you're a new rider, you'll experience this. Riding in Kansas or anywhere, any state that you're riding in the flats and it's a lot of straight lines. Mountain riding is a whole different experience.
Yeah.
And growing up in Colorado, I've ridden in the mountains a lot, but it is a whole different experience, right? It's way more technical. You got way more switchbacks. You got way more off-camber turns. More downhill breaks into a corner. It's kind of a different animal, so it is going to bring on some different feelings, right? It
is, and when you're riding up from Trinidad up Highway 12, you know, we're riding by the Purgatory River, we're riding by the railroad, but it is really windy up through there.
Yeah.
You know, and beautiful, beautiful ride, but even like heading down Cachera Pass, it's pretty windy. It's got a lot of cuts, backs and forths, and you know.
It'll be kind of interesting on a chopper that's 10 foot long, huh? With a 30 over sugar bear front end on it.
Like, how are you going to maneuver that?
Yeah, that's like
how are you going to handle those quick switchbacks coming off Cachera Pass?
Yeah, that's kind of the cool part about it. I'm excited about, because a normal bike's about 6 to 7 foot long, maybe 8.
Yeah.
I don't know, depending on what kind of bike you're on, but we're on a bike that's actually, if you lay the tape measure out, is 10 foot or a little over 10 foot long.
Yeah.
And so, you know, the bike goes great in a straight line, but I'm excited about see how that sugar bear front end handles it through the mountains.
Yeah. But that'll be interesting.
It will.
Yeah. Because like you and I, you know, we've grown up around that area.
Yeah.
We know that area really, really well. But for me, I've never rode a motorcycle through it.
Yeah.
It's been a car, pickup, or a school bus as we're going to play a ball game at one of those little towns, you know. But you've rode a motorcycle.
Yeah.
I don't know that you've rode one over Cachera Pass. You have La Vida Pass as you're heading to Red River.
Right.
You know, but I feel like Cachera Pass has a lot more cuts.
Yeah, I don't know if I've been over Cachera Pass.
It's got a lot of more switchbacks.
Yeah.
You know?
So I would have went over to La Vida Pass to go to Red River and Eagle's Nest and all that stuff, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it's going to be interesting. And, you know, the people that are listening or watch our videos, follow us on YouTube, you know, they'll have their own experiences, right? There's probably people on the ride that have never been on a ride outside of the city. And it's going to bring on different feelings and stuff. And I don't know, do you kind of feel like, to go deeper, kind of what you're saying, is it almost like you got to get through these different layers before you find that freedom? And how much faith do you bring into that to make that all work?
Right, exactly. Well, okay, so just like the other day you told me, yeah, we're gonna be going off Raton Pass doing like 80, 85. And I'm like, holy cow, that throws another level at it, you know? When you're used to going just 65 with your guy down the road, I mean, it's another level, you know?
Yeah.
Because you got a whole however many feet in front of you, you know, and when you're riding those other motorcycles, like a Street Glide or something like that, you don't have that much in front of you.
Right.
So do you, riding down Raton Pass, going 80, do you have to steer it differently? Do you gotta lean differently?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, it's more of a lean than a steer.
I just have to, you know, you have to figure that out.
Yeah, it's really
You know?
more, that's a good
so
question.
then
It's
that threw,
really a
like I said, that threw another level on it.
Yeah.
Like, how do I, you know, go with my guy and leaning and going forward, backwards, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's just a lot. You know, like I said, it's only 20 miles from Raton to Trinidad, but there's a lot. There's a lot of steering and
Yeah.
maneuvering
Yeah,
through that 20 miles.
I'm excited about it. I think it'll be fun. I hope you find a sense of freedom in it somewhere and just, you know, let it go, right? Like that's the real thing there is letting it go. That's, if you can get to that point, then you've gotten somewhere, right? Like when you can just let it go and just embrace the ride and find the freedom and release those fears, right? Because those fears is what paralyzes us, right? That's what paralyzes us and creates an emotion and a feeling, and that fear is what, and then we have another feeling or an emotion based off that thought, and then that thought creates other thoughts that build onto that, you know, that story in our minds, right? And so if we can break away from that and learn to just enjoy it, and life's a lot like that. It's a lot like dealing with shit in life.
Yeah.
You know, pushing
Right.
through it.
Yeah. So when you're in your mid-50s, I've been going back and watching these girls that were riding choppers with their guys or choppers by themselves in the 60s and 70s. I'm like, how'd you girls do this? How did you pack? You know?
Do you think they were wired different back then? Do you think there was a different, like, do you think people were kind of different back then, or what are your thoughts on that?
You know,
Or is it?
no,
Or
just
is
because
it,
I'm so new into this world.
Or do you think it's a lot of you don't know what you don't know? Like,
You don't know what you don't know.
Right.
They just maybe wanted that freedom, you know?
kind of like being in an old pickup riding the back of it down Raton Pass when you're with your grandpa going to a rodeo, right? You're literally in the back of a pickup going down Raton Pass.
Right.
Who does that today?
Exactly. And these girls are sitting on king and queen seats, and they're up higher than their guy, and there's no windshield to block anything. And these girls, they're just sitting there, wind blowing through their hair. They're just
Lean back into the
free
sissy bar?
as ever. They're free as ever.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's why every now and then I kind of lean over because I got to let you take a bug or two.
Yeah, and I do, man. I got it.
I got to lean over and let you take a little bit of wind.
Yeah. My helmet's going everywhere, and
That's awesome.
yes.
Well,
So I'm pretty excited about it. Although I have a lot of emotions going on right now.
Yeah.
That I'm just, you know, I got to get a hold of.
Yep.
But it's okay, you know?
Yep, it is.
But it's no different than these people that this is their first ride
Yep.
out of Goodland, Kansas.
They got a
This is
lot
their
of thoughts,
first
too.
ride out of Hayes or wherever you're from.
Exactly.
You know?
Could be anywhere in the country, right?
Yeah.
Going for your first ride. You may live in
Yeah.
Georgia, or you may live in who knows where, and you're going on your first ride. Think how many people watching this video are having some of those very same thoughts that you are, right?
Yeah. Or does Dave have the bike set up the way we need it set up to go higher altitudes? You know, because when I was riding
Yep.
my dirt bike, if I took my dirt bike from here to La Vida and I'm gonna just do some mountain riding on the dirt, I have to have my jets set up differently.
Exactly.
You know.
And that's funny you mentioned that.
Does Dave have this?
That's what he did.
chopper
Those
set
are
up?
my stresses. Those are my stresses right there.
Yeah.
The mechanical piece of it.
Yeah.
Those are the stresses I have, right? Like the stresses for me is keeping that bike running, right? Like having all the tools I need. You know, being a guy that works on motorcycles, right? That's my biggest stress is that machine running, right? And it's probably any motorcycle enthusiast or biker, or whatever you claim to be or want to be called. Basically, the motorcycle culture is keeping that motorcycle running, right? Like that's, for me, that's the big thing, right? Like, did I go through all my checks and balances? Did I, is my air pressure good? All these kind of things. Those are the things that I take serious, It's not so much the ride or the fears of this or that. It's more of that I think of, like, oh, what's that noise I hear? Oh, that sounds like a different noise. And then that noise starts getting louder, but really it's not getting louder. It's just getting louder in your head.
Right.
Because you're focusing on it more. And so it's kind of wild. It's kind of wild. So, well, right on, babe. I'm proud of you.
Well,
I'm proud of you for jumping on a chopper in your mid-50s.
Yeah, hell
That's
yeah.
badass.
Hell yeah. Yeah. People are going to look at me like, either this girl's really cool and she can ride a chopper for however many miles, or man, she is super crazy and she just wants to be with her guy on a big ride.
Yeah, and he won't let me pack more than what will go in a warm-up bag.
Right. So,
well, I love you, babe.
So girls, if I'm stinking it up a little bit, it's all good. It's all good.
We'll all be stinking it up.
You have to go with that, And you just have to know your faith is bigger than your fears.
Yep. Well said. Well,
so,
right on.
And for me, Jesus is in control. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I am just...
Yeah, you're a Jesus
praying.
girl.
I am praying over Dave.
Yeah.
I'm praying over him that Jesus is his pilot. Dave is the co-pilot. It's just like all in Jesus' hands.
Yeah.
If he wants us to have a good ride, he's gonna let us have a good ride.
Yep. Yeah, right on.
It's all up to him and you.
Right on. Yeah. Right on.
Love you, babe.
Love you too, sweetie. That was fucking awesome.